Good afternoon, everyone. I'm Camilla Carrara, Project Coordinator C.L.A.S.S. I'm really pleased to welcome you all today to the second session of C.L.A.S.S Smart Voices 2023 program, Circularity as a State of Mind. The session will last approximately 1 hour, of which a 50 minutes conversation moderated by C.L.A.S.S CEO and founder Giusy Bettoni, and 10 minutes for a Q&A session. Now, I'm extremely pleased to present our today's speakers. Giusy Bettoni, CEO and founder of C.L.A.S.S, Adriana Gagliasiewicz, founder and CEO at Co-Circular Lab, Tricia Kerry, Chief Commercial Officer at Renewal, Andreas Rohrig on behalf of Wolford, where he was former Director of Product Development and Textile Sourcing, now Consultant for Sustainability and Innovation in Textile, Ettore Maria Carfagnini, co-founder of Revive. I leave the floor to Giusy. Enjoy.
Grazie Camilla, welcome to everybody, especially to these four amazing people that are sharing the stage with me today, talking about circularity as a state of mind, because circularity for us is not just a word, it has become a hot word everywhere. But the people we are talking to today, I'm really pleased and honored to be the moderator today, are going to share what the circularity means from really for different point of view, but really concrete inside of our market. So thank you, Adriana. Thank you, Tricia. Thank you, Andreas and Ettore, to be with us today. And thanks to the people that is participating, because I think they're going to enjoy, the conversation. But let's start from the beginning. And Adriana Gagliasiewicz, I have to say, it's quite a long bio.
Don't worry, it's just Adriana.
I'm not worried. I'm pleased to share it, So designer, first of all, we have to say, action researcher, system thinker, that is so important, innovator, educator, advocate for circular economy based on the cradle-to-cradle design principle. Before starting with Co-Circular Lab in 2020, Adriana spent more than a decade working with C.L.A.S.S. And, she has been featured by Forbes, United Nations, London Design Museum, and Victoria Albert Museum, House of Denim International Advisor. I can go on forever, but I would like, and it's true, by the way, it's all true. And the people that is on this stage today, knows her as well. So, but Adriana, what circularity means? As we have seen, you are an expert in circularity, and your background is telling us that in order to be circular, we need an alignment. It's not just a question of, waste, or it's really something much more strategic. And you have been a pioneer in the case history, such the one of C.L.A.S.S. Can you share with us a little bit in a simple but concrete way, as you normally do in your everyday and professional life? We know the complexity of the supply chain and alignment is difficult, but can you share with us? Can you take us through this, stage?
Well, thank you, Giusy, and nice to see you all participating, and thanks for all the panelists for doing all this together. Well, I will try to answer your question. So circularity is here to eliminate the concept of waste. Like today, this means that using waste as a resource and designing with an intent for the next use. So ideally, these two should be combined. However, considering the waste we have today was never designed to be reused in the first place, we often have to revert to one or the other. But true circularity to me is design according to cradle-to-cradle philosophy, which is inspired by nature. In nature, there is no concept of waste. Everything effectively becomes food for another organism or system, and all the materials are reutilized in safe cycles. So you mentioned, my work at G-Star. So I mean, since 2013, we did many of the circular innovations on various levels, like fiber and dye stuff. However, one of the most I'm proud of is bringing to the market world's first cradle-to-cradle certified gold denim fabric back in 2018. And later on, fully certified gold denim knit products. So for those in the audience who are not familiar with the certification, in order to implement the cradle-to-cradle philosophy, cradle-to-cradle certification standard powered by Cradle-to-Cradle Products Innovation Institute is used as a framework. So this certification is the only certification that's designed for circular product economy, and it's most rigorous and in a way most holistic because it looks at the product design from 5 different perspectives. So one is the material health, another one's product circularity, we have water and soil stewardship, the 4th is social fairness, and 5th is clean air and climate protection. Rigor of the certification is further amplified by different levels of that product can achieve. So they can range from bronze to silver to gold to platinum. For example, in order to achieve gold, all 5 categories must score gold. Even if one scores bronze, the entire certification falls down. So to the bronze. So actually, when we did the world's first cradle-to-cradle certified gold denim fabric, we actually scored platinum on material health. This meant that there was 0 risk for people in the planet in the chemistry of this fabric. Going back to your question, Juicy, like intricacy of the certification, especially when it comes to material health, requires unparalleled levels of collaboration with supply chain in terms of both transparency as well as innovation. So for example, in order to assess material health of the product, every substance within the product is evaluated on its molecular level, first as its own entity, and then later on how it interacts with the rest of the surrounding substances. So when we did the fabric alone, I think there were 54 individual chemical substances identified just for one fabric, which were combined into 49 materials and chemicals. So all these formulas needed to be disclosed. This meant really digging deep into the supply chain. If the substance was problematic or not disclosed, we of course had to innovate with our supply chain to create the ones that would meet the criteria. So this idea of collaboration for us goes even beyond supply chain. One entity using an innovative solution alone cannot change the industry. So this is also when we launched the world's first cradle-to-cradle denim fabric 5 years ago. We made this fabric open source. This meant that other brands could use the fabric and other mills could learn about the revolutionary indigo technology we developed with our partners and can adapt these clean indigo dyeing practices in their own productions. So later on, when we certified the entire products, we also created an open access to the rest of the components, such as like metal trims or pocketing, interlining. And by sharing our findings and solutions, others would not have to do the double work. Instead, they could actually help build upon it and consequently scale and accelerate the circular practices. So this entire process, starting from creation of the world's first cradle-to-cradle denim products to optimizing other garment components at gold level, is what I call creation of the circular design toolbox. Because only by having the right tools can we design the circular products of the future. It's actually very nice to see that ever since our launch, that more variations of cradle-to-cradle products are continuously being developed, not only within G-Star, but also in its own supply chain, but also amongst other brands and other partners. So I think it's very important to scale.
Exactly, and you're going immediately next to my second question, but before going, I would like just a quick one about the communication of what you did in circular economy, in G-Star, and in your, because we know it's about knowledge, it's about skills when you talk circular, but at the same time, communication toward the consumer about this, and we will hear also other experiencing at our stage today. But just a quick one, because I think you did a lot of steps there.
Well, I mean, it's a very complex subject, and also denim itself is a complex matter. So yeah, we tried to simplify it in a graphic form in a way. So you had a video like how to create the world's most sustainable jeans, or like that. So it was really kind of animated. I think why we went in that direction also during the Raw for the Oceans campaign, there was this sort of gamification and like idea that attracted many people to raise the awareness. So yeah, G-Star's marketing team is really super creative. And another fact is that they always have involved me in creation of the story, because you know, they involve everybody that's been in, you know, part of the let's say process, and really choose the honest and factual voice.
Yeah, it has to be confirmed.
It has to be, but even before all this regulations that are coming out.
Yeah, and this line is still on sales, by the way. It's not been done as a special edition, but it's something that is still part of.
No, yeah. I mean, even in 2013, it was the first time we introduced using waste as a resource, where we collected G-Star raw jeans and refibered them, refabricated them, created new jeans. I mean, even now, if you this idea of using waste as a resource is still echoing throughout the brand, not only in denim, but also you just saw at the Milan Design Week, perhaps the collab with the private jet, you know, that was all from the G-Star raw jeans. So there are these interpretation using waste as a resource are like have been since 2003 implemented into a collection one way or the other.
Thank you. And last thing, but really important, what do you think about the current industry, and not just denim, of course, you know, because you are looking at the whole, let's say, application and, you know, possibility to do circular economy, which is the state of the art in terms of circularity, at least thinking, you know, if not adoption. If you can intermittently give us your view about it.
I think earlier when we were setting up, Patricia mentioned something like chicken or the egg situation. And I think at the moment there is no perfection, because we are all in a transitional stage. Like there are various initiatives when it comes to circular design, which are absolutely amazing. You know, some of them are also, Patricia's gonna tell about the Renew Cell. I was just there a couple of weeks ago in this amazing repurposed old paper processing factory that is now processing textiles. Personally, I'm excited about technologies such as like carbon capture and transform, like Ruby Labs, and then they capture CO2 to create lifecycle. Of course, this is all smaller initiatives, but Renew Cell had managed actually to take the textile waste and scale it. I mean, alternative to fossil fuels such as natural fiber welding innovations, fiber sorting, which is very much needed. Pretty much anything that combats waste is for me very exciting. I think we have many wonderful circular innovations. However, the infrastructure for enabling circularity is still missing. And this is something we all must collaboratively work on. And for inspiration, I think looking at the projects that are going on in the cities like Philadelphia, Portland, and Amsterdam. I don't know if you know Kate Radeworth and the donut economics. So, you know, they're looking how to restructure the cities to be circular in terms of using the donut economics frameworks. So I think we can learn from other industries, even from electronics and food, you know, extended producer responsibility ideas. I think inspiration is everywhere, but we really need the infrastructure.
Adriana, thanks a lot. I know it was very difficult to summarize all these concepts, and you can see that you handle, you know, the subject very well. And I will go to have a look at this latest hint that you offer us. If you can put maybe in the chat, that would be really helpful for everybody.
Yes.
And thank you. And
thank you.
Patricia Carey, Chief Commercial Officer for Renew Cell. Another great bio, you know, because it's not just a long time, but really an amazing experience. But, you know, advocate for innovation and circularity. So in the textile and apparel industry, Tricia joined Renew Cell November 2022. And from that day, a lot of things happened, and you will share with us, Tricia, in a moment. in order to accelerate the commercial development of circulars, making fashion circular, so something really concrete. Vast global network, as well as experience in brand building, just to remind myself, just to, put these, amazing job that you have done throughout all this year, brand building, storytelling, business development, and so you are really an invaluable partner to close the loop and optimize the benefit of circulars. But let's talk a little bit, we have heard about the key role of supply chain alignment, from design to finished product, passing by material. But what happens if the circularity starts from a completely different business model and, and is able to create a new generation of industry, a plant, because that's what we are talking about. That's what happened with RenewCell. The inauguration has been last November near Stockholm, and I've been really, really honored to be there, that moment. And, but the history of all of this goes back in time a little bit more. Can you share, Tricia, a little bit the background?
Sure. Yes. Thanks, Juicy. I really appreciate being here today. And actually, we go back a long way within our fiber history from those early days of Tencel. So it's wonderful that we're able to continue the discussion, and wow, what an evolution the industry is really going through. The history of RenewCell and a lot of the activities that have happened over the past couple of months were well underway, before I joined, and a very dedicated and focused team to build the company over the past 10 years. So RenewCell actually started in 2012, and it was some academics from KTH University that actually started. In Sweden, it's a pulp and paper nation. That's their heritage. And if anyone has ever been to Sweden, and it always impressed me in my first visits, is just how many trees there are, and the pulp expertise and IP that exists in the country. And so that has really, that led to the start of RenewCell and the beginnings. And it wasn't then until 2013 that they started to develop more getting out of the lab. By 2017, H&M was investing, as well as having other investors join. And it was then in 2020 that the first garments were launched using Circular.S. So Circular.S is our ingredient brand name for the pulp. And then it was 2 years ago that RenewCell was listed publicly on the NASDAQ stock exchange. So this is, again, where evolution needs to happen, and also the funding behind this technology, which is really important of the space right now. And then we launched our first full-scale production facility in 2022, which Juicy, you got to be there for the inauguration, and Adriana came last month after Kingpins. So we are open, and we started shipping in January of this year. So we're really focused on our niche, which is only making pulp. So we do not make any fiber. We work very closely with man-made cellulosic fiber producers. And our pulp is different because it's coming from 100% textile waste. So we're able to reuse the cellulose, and as Adriana said, keep those molecules alive, keep that going. And it is recyclable again. And it is also of quality that is to original virgin quality. So bringing a full-scale production facility to reality has really been a major feat. And this was being done at a paper pulp mill. So it was using a brownfield to then develop this new facility. And I don't know, Juicy, maybe now is a good time to show that video, if that works.
Yeah, amazing.
Okay. Coming and seeing it is one thing, but if you can't come, it's definitely wonderful to at least see this video. And I just want to mention, what we face in our industry now is a lot of conversation around chicken or egg. What should we do? Which one comes first? At RenewCell, I like to say that we've cracked the egg, and we are scrambling it to get things moving forward. And I'll just share this in a full screen that you can see that. But I think, we can sit around and we can debate these things for hours, days, years. But really what it takes is that we have to get started and get moving on it. And for RenewCell, that's where we are continuing to scale and make fashion circular. And we're doing this because we really just crack the egg to move forward. But what I want to show you here today, now this is our full production facility. We have this front area. The full plant is a paper pulp mill that SCA has been running for years, and they didn't need all of it. They laid off many workers, who we were able to actually rehire. By working on this brownfield, we're actually able to use the wastewater, the steam energy, and even the port that's nearby. So it helped us to have this speed to scale because we're able to use the infrastructure that already exists here. So this video, I'm going to play it. It shows you very quickly what we're doing and how we're taking in large scale the waste in order to turn it into pulp. So let me begin here. So full bales of used textiles. So we use post-industrial and post-consumer. We go through the pulp stage and this very long drying process that we have in order to make the sheets. And that's all that we sell, are just the sheets of pulp in order to make fashion circular. So that's just a brief video. I like to think that sometimes maybe we almost make it look a little too easy, but there's a lot of challenges behind developing and scaling this technology, and we look to continue to have more partners to bring us along and close the loop.
You know, very easy. We know that what is behind, but it's already effective and it's already working. So in a nutshell, if you can summarize what are the key values and of innovation and responsibility for circularity, but at the same time, I know, and it's the same question that I asked also Adriana, how to take these to the market and communicate, you know, to outside, because we know that is one of the key challenges at the moment.
Yeah. Well, I think for circularity, it's not just a state of mind, and it's something that's top of mind for many people, but it's actually how we look at it, RenewCell. It's an action of being. And this is everything that we're focused on, is really driving circularity and bringing the partners together within the network to make that happen. And this hasn't existed before, in order to take what collectors and sorters have put aside and able to bring that back into the loop. And you know, this technology that's being developed and the IP and the patents that exist for RenewCell, you know, is quite unique. And the fact that we're able to offer a plug and play solution ready for fiber producers to take in. So it's substituting wood pulp. And what we're working on right now as we continue to scale. So the facility that I showed you those pictures, that plant can get up to 120,000 tons of pulp. Now, you know, is this really enough to face what we need in the market? Absolutely not. There's far more demand than what we can even supply. And that's where we also welcome other innovators into the space. And Adriana mentioned some that are working on developments, and there's some reports that are out recently that there's actually over 100 innovators for textile materials. And Juicy, you and I know that there really hasn't been any new innovations in textiles since 1992, when lyocell came into the market.
Exactly.
You know, so now is this age of innovation that's happening. We'll see more new developments happening in fiber space. I think we'll see also, you know, some twists and turns. People that have great ideas that maybe can't commercialize them. And this will be a very interesting time, where I think we'll see a lot, and not just what's happening to replace, you know, cellulosic world, but also what's happening in synthetics, and also a lot of innovation happening in the leather space. Some of these are circular solutions. Some of them, you know, are looking at other ways of having lower impacts. But at RenewCell, I mean, how we look at it, and we can work with other innovators in the space, working with Spinova, Infinitid, Treated Textile. They all need pulp in order to make, those fibers need pulp in order to make their product. So at RenewCell, the plant that we have that's scaling up to 120,000 tons is really just the beginning. The total fiber market is 110 million tons of fiber that is produced or grown every year. Man-made cellulosics represents 7 to 8 million tons, but that is growing at a high rate. And what our goal is to get to 360,000 tons of pulp by 2030. So we will continue to build and grow, but we need partners in order to do this. And it's no longer looking at a supply chain, but it's really looking at a supply network. So it's this network effect that has to happen. And we can start to introduce new business models into circularity. And one way that we're looking at this too is typically as an ingredient brand, you look at it as a push-pull, which is a very linear way. You're pushing to your direct customers, but you're pulling through. So in our case, it'd be, pushing to fiber producers, but pulling through with retailers and brands. And that's the way ingredient branding has typically been done. But at RenewCell, we're looking at it differently, and we're looking at it as encompass marketing, because it's no longer just looking at who you're selling to next. It's really everyone together. We need to know how those textiles are being developed. As Adriana said, we need to design into circularity, and that will continue to happen. So it's important for us, even though we're only making the pulp, our Circular.S pulp, is that how are textiles, what are the blends? What are those treatments of the textiles? And how can we continue to keep those cellulose molecules alive and keep them in circulation? So this is really an exciting time, fun for me in building out what we can make going forward with Circular.S, how we can continue to educate and build and inspire around the brand of Circular.S.
Thank you, Tricia. And I think we have a new motto. Adriana, you have really, you are a copy at this point. Keep molecule alive. I think I love it, and I think it gives really the idea. So thank you, Tricia. And we go to the next, amazing argument that is about our friend Andreas. Andreas, that is here on behalf of Woolford, but former, director of research and development at Woolford, and now sustainability consultant in Towards. So Woolford, and Circularity has been, at another sort of pioneer. Can you take us through, Andreas, because we have been talking about this also in the past, but I think it's important now because how many years, passed from the first time that we talk about Aurora, basically?
Thank you for the invitation, Josie, for having me here. It's really a pleasure for me. Yeah, how many years? It's a long time ago. I'm very happy that you are so kind, that you are doing this event for our 10 years anniversary when we started to become more circular. So it's exactly
10 years.
Exactly 10 years ago, we started in 2013 with our project. Let me share a bit the screen to show you also a bit. Can you see?
Yeah.
So as I said before, now it's not moving.
No.
No. So a bit about us. So we are we have 2 production facilities, 200 monobrand stores as Woolford, and we were really, due to my long experience with this company, it was really a big problem for us 10 years ago. That was the time when we saw the first this plastic island swimming in the ocean and stuff, and with the turtle with the plastic around the neck, and then we really thought, how can we stay in the business with our product? So we're doing hosiery, we are doing lingerie, but we are using mainly man-made fiber, is about 80%, and from this 80% is 2/3, I would say, oil-based. So we had to find a solution how we can become more sustainable. What we did until this date, we said we invest all the money in durability, which is also sustainable. But for tights, when we talk about 10-denier tights, you cannot give this to your daughter, or also underwear you cannot give away. So we had to find another solution. Then this was a very important step that we said we are building up a consortium. This is something everybody who wants to start with this go in cooperation, make groups with your suppliers, with institutes, because alone is very difficult to go ahead and to be to become a positive result. So we had a big of 15 different companies here and institutes. Yeah, then we, as I said, 2013 we started, and then it took us 5 years. Is quite a long time, and it was really a hard time to invest 5 years without 1 cent of turnover. So you can imagine also the CEO asked many times, "What are you doing here? Where is the result? When can we sell the product?" But it took time, and at the end we were very proud, because in 2018 we had then the gold certificate for cradle to cradle for the biocycle, and after 1 year we also had the certificate for the technical cycle. So we were at that time, I think, the only fashion brand having both certificates for both cycles, and we also had then in 2018 the first product. This was the first product. It was pullover and a legging for the biocycle, so biodegradable, gold certified. And then 1 year later, 2019, we were also able, the first product was this socks and knee-high in technical cycle. Then there was many products coming, also dresses, circular knit technology. We were able, so we were using the modal fiber from Lenzing, the Inogema from the Asahi Kasei, the spandex, the Roika, and also from Inogema. Here is written a bit wrong, I just saw the Inogema, so the modified polyester fiber. Then now we were able now to launch, in the meantime, since 2018, about 59 different products. So from toe to head, everything. So we were really doing tights, knee highs. We are trying to do bodies. That was something in the first step. We wanted to develop a bra, which is the most difficult product, I would say, in the textile industry, even without cradle to cradle, because it never fits and is always a bit problematic. And then you see here that really the range was expanding. Then in the meantime, we are also able to produce also patterned product. We had then a partner producing also cut and sew. So producing fabric on the big machine, knitting machine. We found also partners to have warp knit. One Italian partner, he started to become certified for flat knit product, because there is also a woolen yarn available, cradle to cradle gold certified. So you see that really the industry is moving. Of course, packaging is also important. To have this gold certified. And why did we do it? As I said before, we were really not sure if our business model can survive until 2030 or 50. So we said we have to find a solution. We know that fashion industry is one of the most polluting industry, and this is also not so nice to be in this group. So we have to get out of this. A lot of employees, then of course the population is increasing, consumption is increasing, waste creation is increasing, and resources are decreasing. I was really shocked. I was in a sustainability course a few months ago, and they showed a board about the elements, so silver, gold, and lithium, and all this stuff, and they have a list. What will be 2030, 2050, 2017, what will not be available anymore. And I think in 2100 is about 1/3 of the elements are gone if we continue like we are doing. So, and this was really shocking for me. This was a status 2020. I took it out from an old presentation. So we were asking for product passport, for material database. Then, of course, the legislation should change. That is not waste, is a raw material. Then that circular economy should be integrated in the environmental law of the EU, and that in the industrial composting should also be considered as recycling. We see here that some of these points are coming, some of these points are not coming, but this is very important step that really, because we saw from the SDGs 2015, they gave it to everybody signed, and nobody did anything. And now we see with the taxonomy and the Green Deal that really they are pushing now. Mm-hmm. And in the meantime, is not nice to have, is really something you have to turn into this. There were also a lot of hurdles. You see here the bra, I think, is more than 30 single pieces. And in this project, we transferred all these components either in the technical cycle or in the biocycle. So you can imagine there is tulle, there is fabric, there is embroidery, I forgot one big player doing the closure at the back, and we still do not have the closure. So that was really a long way, and we really had problems because we said we do not want to do some green stuff which is harsh and not durable. So we really wanted to keep our standard. And that was really very difficult for the color fastness, durability. In the first 2 years, we offered only black, and our sales and marketing people said, "Are you crazy? We cannot do only black." But it was at that time, it was not possible because nothing was available. We did about 250 assessments of chemicals during this project to have all the chemicals we needed for our products. And of course, also for me personally, it was very important to keep people motivated. So to keep focused, and because it was always a bit, we could open one door and then you go to the next room and then the next door is again closed. So that was really an experience. But we saw also with the team, with the great team I have here, that the spirit was to develop more than tights. So that was really to develop a new way of designing product, which is much more difficult, much more exhausting. But now, when you have all the components, then is going quicker.
Andreas,
yeah,
it's great. It's really, I think, very clear that
I was in another call.
We cannot do these things if there is not a strategy, a clear strategy, and a company that supports it. That not just have a vision, a mission, but also every day, because this is work that is starting, but it's really a journey. And the fact to motivate, it's really important, and motivate from 360 degrees. So
that is completely true, and I have to say that there are two groups of people. One group is they burn for it. They say, okay, I want to do this, and I want to change a bit the world. And the other group, they do not see a reason for doing this. And you cannot change the people. That was what my learning from this lesson. So I had a few people, maybe it's only 20% of the whole team. They were really fighting for this, and they were motivated. And for many others, they said, why to do this effort? Because at the end, nobody will find out if this is really the right chemical or not. This is
well, we can talk forever. We know that it's something that is happening, but at the same time we need to stay focused, as you said, and to keep working on showing the evidence of the beauty of these products, because we have not to forget about it, and beauty from the inside as well.
Exactly.
So, thank you, Andreas, and it's time. Ettore Maria Carfagnini, co-founder of Revibe. Revibe is the leading online marketplace for upcycling fashion in Europe, founded in 2021. And Ettore, that is with us, Ettore Maria is with us today.
Hi.
He's a digital marketing expert with years of experience as a marketing consultant in Paris, and is part of the team of marketing of Caps Lock magazine, an independent publisher in Milan. Always been passionate about sustainability, design, and technology, and you have been a co-founder. So we have been traveling, from the alignment expertise on designing, making the denim, but going also, inside of the system to become, circular, a new generation of material, because the business model is completely different and is generating new business model also of marketing, communication. We heard, ingredient branding, and now, another part.
Yes.
We have heard luxury, companies that are working on this product that are not just t-shirt, okay? And to make lingerie, hosiery, it's not like, design, but what about an online, about, upcycling? You are really building also a community, as far as
Yes.
we have seen, driven by circular economy. And I think the good things here is that you are talking to the consumer much more than all the other people that has to start a little bit, But can you share a little bit the background, how you are deploying your strategy and which is your business model?
Yes. First of all, thanks a lot for the invitation. Just to give you a bit of an idea of what is Revive. As you said, we were born in 2021 as a marketplace. So we are partnering in the distribution, and we are a marketplace dedicated to upcycling fashion. As we were saying, the main part of our business is the community. So when we were here in Paris, basically we ended up like meeting a lot of emerging designers, emerging brands. They were actually reworking existing materials, pre-consumer or post-consumers, to create fashion collection. What was missing at that time was actually like a platform, a shopping location where you can actually buy and see and learn about these new brands that are trying to make fashion more circular. So that's why we created this platform. We actually built a network of more than 130 designers around Europe. And today we have listed more than 2,500 unique products. We are still at the beginning, but the market is growing faster and faster, driven by the consumers, as you said, but also about some new regulations that are coming. Then last year, actually, we kind of like understood that to actually create a change we wanted to create in the system, we had to also cooperate with the fashion brands, traditional brands. So that's why we decided to leverage on our network of designers to actually help traditional brands to create upcycling collection. We're using basically the pre-consumer products, so what they have in stock, and showing them that actually these products, unsold stock, could be reworked and resold in the market as new collections. Well, what's actually really our mission is basically to show them that there is a value in their inventory. It shouldn't be a cost, but it can be a value, and this value is understood by the consumers, the final consumers, that it's part of our community. So I think in this way I gave you a bit of a
No, absolutely, and we know that consumer loves this kind of exercise.
Yes.
If creativity is there, it's beautiful, and the fact that you give life. We are keeping the molecule alive, at 360 degrees. But I know that apart from these exercises, you're also working with special projects. We have seen Eastpak, we have seen H&M as well. So can you share?
Exactly. Yes. These are, as I was telling you, is a perfect examples of companies that actually are mindful in terms of actually sustainability, even if maybe the consumers don't think about it. They are trying to change their traditional business models, and they wanted to test with us actually the feasibility and profitability of this scheme. So for example, we were contacted by H&M Beyond, this innovation lab internal to H&M, because they had this huge stock of returns, e-commerce returns that were tailor-made, so unsellable again. And so the classic waste generated by fashion industry, and in this case, I have to say also by consumers, many times buy clothes online and then returns it to the brand. They asked us for help, and thanks to our network of designers, and especially 3 of them, we actually proposed them a collection made out of organic cotton shirts, the one that they had in stock. And it's a full collection. So basically, again, from one product, it was actually male oriented. We have been able to create with the same materials without producing any new fabrics, a new collection. It was female and it was with total looks. So it's a very good example of what you can do actually with what you have in stock if you have creativity, a bit of passion, and also believe in the market.
Absolutely. And I think this is, you know, a great sort of finale that is not a finale, because we know that each 6 months we are going back to understand a little bit how the things are evolved, because as you can see, there are companies that are more than 10 years that are working on these. But at this point, I would like to open up the remaining 10 minutes, right, Camilla? So some question, is there are any for our...
Yeah, absolutely. I also received a question privately. So they are asking if the session will be recorded and posted somewhere. The session will be on our website on classicohub.org in the next days, so that people can rewatch it. And then we have congratulations and compliments for Ettore. The selection of pieces collection of Revive is super cool.
Thanks a lot.
Many questions for Tricia as well that already answered in the chat. Then we have from Charles, what type of mixed materials can be accommodated? So things like polycotton, or what type of lycra contents can be processed up to 5% or over 5%, which fabric finishes on the original products make reprocessing a no-go. I am presuming there is some disassembly, like removal of zips or buttons, that is required beforehand. So.
Yeah, I mean, I can take that, and I think everybody has different, or maybe Adriana, you have some other input on this, but at Renewcell, I put in here that right now we're working with 95% cellulose content. We're primarily using cotton within that cellulose, and that's mainly because of what's accessible and what's being collected and sorted. The 5% synthetics, we can separate that out. That's a part of our IP and our production process. So I think when we look at some of the challenges around what do we do with spandex, so within our production process, we can separate up to 5%. Our goal is to actually get to 10%. Again, back to the chicken or the egg, we said, let's get started and let's start with 5%. We'll get to 10% eventually. We also remove buttons and metal. That's a part of our process as well. So if people want more information about our requirements for textiles, it's all online, and I put the link here. We have a whole sourcing team. They do an incredible job. A lot of it is around logistics of waste and where it is, because this is another part of the system that we're going to have to work together on, because where the factories are and where the collection of textiles is, it's in 2 different regions. I see that as something as we continue on the roadmap for circularity in the future. But I don't know if other people want to add.
I just would like to add one thing, that we have, elastin today that are also cradle to cradle. And I think Adriana has been using from the beginning, I think, when we talk about Cistarro. And I think also Andreas mentioned, the Roica degradable, I believe.
And also, I mean, you were mentioning poly here. In cradle to cradle world, there is no poly that can actually be gold level, I just say. It's mostly coming to bronze because of the antimony trioxide molecules. So that's something that, you know, also redefining polyester, you know, how can we make a polyester of the future that is antimony free and as well that doesn't shed microplastics if we want to go have better synthetics for the future. So, and yes, there are available options for the cradle-to-cradle elastan. You can also look at the cradle-to-cradle products registry on the Cradle-to-Cradle Products Innovation Institute. They're all different ingredients which you can mix and match that have already been assessed and certified, so you don't have to do any double work. So feel free to take a look at there.
Important. Yeah.
And another question. Oh, sorry, Andreas.
Yeah, maybe additional to that, we're talking about fiber content, a percentage of elastan. I think the solution at the moment, we are struggling a lot with closing the loop. So we are doing everything from the beginning, from the design part to have the right fiber, everything. But what we discover now is that nobody is really interested in that waste, which is not waste, which is raw material. And I think here we have to do many things. Is still to do also with waste management companies, also with recycling companies, really to find a way. There are 6 ways of textile recycling, from burning to chemical to mechanical recycling to depolymerize. So all this stuff, and I think this is something we have to work on, because at the moment I am a bit frustrated. We have a lot of tons of pre-consumer waste available in our production, but at the moment nobody's really interested in that, and this has to change.
So thanks very much to everybody, Camilla, Andreas, Adriana, Trisha, Ettore. Thank you so much, and to the people that participate, and keep in touch, because this is another step of the conversation and of the journey that, you know, we are in since some years, but it's going on, and it's also fascinating, I have to say. Grazie.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Nice to see you all. Bye.